good to see everybody out there. I know this is a little unusual, but I'm happy to be here. Just a quick review. If you don't remember, we changed our clocks yesterday. We moved forward, and that's the time to change the batteries in the smoke alarms. So if you or your parents haven't done that, please take the time to do that, because we know smoke alarms help save lives. And we know we should have at least one smoke alarm on each floor of our house, but not in the kitchen or the bathroom. And why is that? Because of the nuisance alarms. If we burn some food accidentally, that could set off the smoke alarm. We know we burnt the food, it's not a problem. Or sometimes steam from a hot shower, a hot bath, can also set off the smoke alarm. So smoke alarms are not recommended in the kitchen or the bathroom for those reasons. But please make sure they're working monthly, test them monthly, and if you didn't change the batteries this past weekend when we changed the clocks, let's get that done, okay? So what we have today is Watch What You Eat. I understand this is a hybrid, like nutrition, foods class, working out and stuff like that with Mr. Pagani, Ms. Nardini. So we're gonna go over some kitchen fire safety. Why is that? Well, the kitchen is primarily the hottest spot in the house. We have all these different heat sources. And I usually ask, the class to share, but for simplicity, I'm just gonna ask the question and then answer it. We got the microwave. We have the stovetop. That's the top of the oven, okay? This appliance here. We got toasters, toaster ovens, coffee makers, panini bread makers. We got all these different heat sources, and if we're not careful with them, that could be a problem, okay? Because there are hundreds of injuries and unfortunately fatalities due to these kitchen fires every year in the United States. In fact, the good thing is fire deaths are down because of programs like this. We're not the only ones doing fire safety programs here in the United States, which is a good thing because the deaths are on the going down, on the decline. We don't want people dying from fires. We don't want people being injured from fires. They're preventable, okay? But they are the #1 cause of home fires in the U.S., okay? And it's typically not the appliance. It's the appliance operator, okay? So we got to watch what we heat, okay? It's basically when we make mistakes. So anticipating what could happen. And what I mean with that is the choice that you make. You start cooking here and you have a towel here, maybe paper towels, something close by, a combustible, that's anything made out of wood, paper, plastic, and a fire starts up. Well, these items here can catch on fire if we're not careful, if we're not watching what we heat. So it really does have to do with the choices you make, and we're going to talk about that here in the next 30 minutes, okay? So part of the choice is the busy lifestyles that we have. Everybody's busy. You guys are in school, you have extracurricular activities, maybe a job, maybe you got to help with watching your little brothers or sisters, or take care of grandma, grandpa, whatever it is, we're all busy, okay? So being busy, we might be distracted. That could lead to an incident here in the kitchen. And one of those distractions, an ordinary distraction, is, the hand brain, okay? So we take a phone call. And we get talking, and maybe we step outside onto the deck or the patio, and we're not watching what we're heating anymore, okay? And that's how a fire can start. So that would be an ordinary distraction. Maybe it's a special distraction if you don't have a phone. And that's where I'm moving now. What might be a special distraction? Well, one example we've talked about in prior classes is, let's say you have a dog, okay? And when you let the dog out, all of a sudden the dog makes a beeline for your fenced-in yard, but your little brother or little sister forgot to close the gate, and now the dog takes off through the gate and roaming into the neighborhood. and you're like, I gotta go get the dog, okay? Not watching what you're heating, that could be that special distraction, okay? Occurred accidentally, but it occurred, leaving a chance for fire here in the kitchen. Fatigue. You guys probably know what fatigue is. You just got done doing a little 15-minute, 20-minute workout. Maybe you're a little tired, and that's what it means, okay? You're a little tired. You're not paying attention. Let's say you were up late studying for your life exam, okay? And pay particular attention today because you may see questions on that 50-question written examination coming up. So you're studying late at night for this life examination that you're going to have on Monday, and you know it's your parents' anniversary. You said you'd make them breakfast, and you get up and you're just fatigued, you're tired, you're not paying attention so much, and that could lead to a problem in the kitchen. Health issues. You know, some of our relatives that we maybe live with, our grandma, grandpa, various aunts and uncles. Maybe they take a medication that makes them drowsy, makes them sleepy, okay? They don't want you taking this medication when you're driving. You think that ties in with cooking? If you're taking that medication, maybe you shouldn't be cooking. So we don't want to be taking those types of medications when we're cooking or having relatives do that, or various health issues that could lead to a possible incident in the kitchen. And we get all kinds, like, oh, what if somebody has a heart attack, or somebody has a seizure, and it occurred. It has occurred in my 25-year history as a paramedic, and people start giggling like, really? Oh yeah, it's occurred. Not all the time, but the folks with those health issues are at risk for causing a problem if they start cooking, okay? And there's lots of other problems or fire risk incidents that come up with cooking. So the idea is to watch what you heat, plan properly, okay? The solution is recognizing the problem before it happens. Like I said, if we have something too close to the stovetop here, we're going to be frying some bacon or whatever it is. We want to make sure we're moving these items at least a safe distance away. We've always taught 3 feet, and that might not be practical. The point is we want to make sure it's pushed away. Notice where we have these cutting boards right here. They're stored right here. Well, maybe these cutting boards should be stored a little bit farther away from the oven and stovetop, because if a fire breaks out, these are made of plastic or sometimes, wooden cutting boards. They're combustible. Remember, anything made out of wood, paper, and plastic is combustible. You may see that again on the 50-question written examination. So, just kidding. I don't know what they have in store for you. Recognizing the problem before it happens. So we're into prevention. We're being proactive. It's like going to school. We're being proactive. We're learning to prevent the problem before it happens. Okay? Or solve the problem. So once we know what starts fires, then guess what? We can learn how to prevent them. And we know we have all these different heat sources, so we got to watch what we heat. Okay? I know I'm kind of talking fast, but I want to make sure I'm covering this stuff in the time we have, because otherwise we could be here till 4 o'clock. Just kidding. All right, so some tips. Never leave cooking unattended, okay, for any reason. The doorbell rings. What can we do? Shut off the heat, right? Go answer the door, or ask somebody else to answer the door, okay? Tip number 2. If you got to leave the kitchen, shut off the burner, kind of just mentioned that. Take something with you like a dish towel. Okay, maybe I just have something simmering. It's got to simmer for 30 minutes. Okay, that's a little bit different than maybe a hotter frying bacon. Take a dish towel with you. Answer the door. How about this? Set a timer, okay? That's going to keep you aware, hey, that's right, I got something on the stove, before you get into a conversation with your neighbor who came over for a cup of sugar, okay? Invite them in. All right? Moving on. Keeping your kitchen clean. I know you haven't had probably a chance to come in and cook something here, but think about your own house, okay? When you're done cooking something, do you leave it? I'm not sure, but maybe we should stick to the classroom. I've always said, hey, when you're done cooking here in the classroom, do you leave it for the next class coming in? Okay? Because if you're saying, well, yeah, they should clean it up, well, then it kind of comes back to you. The last class, the day before you show up first period, what are all these dirty dishes? So we know better than that. We got to keep our kitchen clean. And it's not just for fire safety. Really, why do we want to have a nice clean kitchen? I'm seeing, you guys kind of going along the lines of, well, germs, viruses, okay, bacteria, rodents, bugs, okay? We don't want that stuff in our kitchen. We don't want a dirty kitchen because of the germs, basically. We want a nice clean kitchen to keep ourselves healthy, okay? And that's basically part of life. Kind of like all the PPE that we've been wearing, the mask or the glasses, making sure you wash your hands before you start cooking and so forth, okay? And when you do start cooking, okay, you see Grandma in the morning, she gets up and she's going to come over here and she's wearing that long silky robe, and she's like, I'm going to make you some eggs, okay? And you notice, like, this robe is hanging down and she's over the open flames. Well, those types of materials, that silk, that polyester, that fleece, that material is very light, and it can catch fire very easily. So we want to make sure we're wearing tight-fitting clothes, maybe even roll up those sleeves, have her take change that robe before she starts cooking, roll up the sleeves, okay? Tie the hair back. That's going to help prevent somebody catching on fire. And, we've taught you, and we didn't spend too much time on it. Your clothes catch on fire, you stop, drop, and roll. Easier said than done in a kitchen or for an elderly person. Let's prevent folks from catching on fire. If you identify, you recognize, like, hey, that could catch on fire, Grandma, roll that sleeve up or take that robe off, okay, to prevent a fire. And all you boys that have real long hair, you might want to make sure you put that in a ponytail, tighten that up, put it in the back, or you girls as well that have long hair. I experienced something very sad a long time ago. A little third grader blowing out her 8 birthday candles. Oh. Yeah, her head let loose of her hair over the candles, and it went up quick. And it's not going to take but a split second if that were to occur here over an open flame while you're cooking something, okay? So it's very serious to prevent injuries, okay? Also, if you got little brothers or sisters, you want to make sure that you keep them in a safe zone. We don't want to be taking something hot off the stovetop and all of a sudden tripping over our little brother and sister. So, they love you, okay? They want to be with you. They want to do what you're doing. Get them involved. Get them a bowl, okay? Put a little bit of milk in there, some flour or something. Say, now I need you to mix this for the next 20 minutes. Okay, I need you to stir this for 20 minutes. After a minute, they're gone. They're going to be over in the living room playing with the toys. Or if they don't want to be, that's where you need to get them, in a safe zone, okay? And that would be inside or outside. If you're flipping burgers at the grill, it's the same thing. Create a little safe zone for your younger brothers and sisters or the little people. And excuse me. Okay. Just catching my breath here.
You want some water?
I'm good. So you're frying up some bacon and it flares up. Do not use water, okay? One of the things about cooking is being prepared. When you're gonna make your cookies or breakfast, whatever it is, you know, you're gonna get your eggs and your toast and your bacon. You're gonna get everything laid out, and you're gonna start your cooking. You know, your flour, your sugar, your little chocolate chips and vanilla and everything. You're getting everything laid out. Same with your cooking. Make sure you got the lid, okay, to the pan or pot that you're using, okay? Make sure you got your tools, okay? The pancake turner, your wooden spoon, okay, for stirring, so you prevent yourself from getting burned versus getting a burn. This is a little gadget here. I know might be hard to see. I'll let you zoom in on that. It's for pulling out the rack or pushing the rack in of the oven. So again, another gadget. I don't know if you guys can see this down there. I think you can, but I can pull that out or push that in. I'm not a gadget guy. How about this? Let's get our oven mitts on. And when you're going to use oven mitts, which are very good tools, okay, PPE, personal protection equipment, and you're going to handle something hot, taking something out of the oven, you have more control over that item with two hands versus trying to balance it with one, okay? So use two oven mitts. And when you are taking something hot out of the oven or something hot off the stovetop, make sure you put some pot holders down, okay? And this also reminds us, put a lid on grease fires, never use water. Protect your property, protect your counters, your wooden tables, because you can scorch them if you take something hot off the stove or out of the oven and set it to the bare counter. You want to set it on top of these, it's kind of hard to see, I think, but you want to set it on top of the oven or the hot pads, okay? We are going to watch a video, hopefully, at the end, a little 30-second video on why you should never put water on a grease fire, because it's going to expand and people have been severely burned, okay? So use the lid. Never use water on those grease fires, okay? But you got to have the lid available. If you got to open cabinets and look for the lid, it's not available. That lid, it's either on the pot or next to the stovetop, okay? And this is made of glass, or if it's made of metal, it's non-combustible, so we can keep it close to the stovetop, okay? All right. You know, fire extinguishers are a whole nother class, so I really don't promote fire extinguishers in foods class. I mention them, yeah, people have them, but I will say this. If you shut off the heat and put the lid on it, you're going to be much safer. And I'm going to demonstrate how to put a lid on. Okay, we got about 6-7 minutes left, okay? And as I mentioned, cooking outside, okay? Keep that safe zone, and if you are flipping burgers on a grill, make sure you got that nice big lid, okay? Because if a fire flares up, they're putting out grease and so forth, the burgers and whatever meats you're grilling, guess what? It's going to flare up. Use the lid. Also, when you're grilling, not on a combustible surface. So if you're grilling on your wooden deck, it's causing a lot of fires. The concrete, brick pavers, asphalt, the grass, gravel, that's where you want to be grilling, not on your wooden deck, okay? I mentioned that if we get a fire breaks out, we're going to go ahead and use the lid, okay? But what happens if a fire breaks out in the oven? Okay, we start to see some smoke coming from the seams of the door. You shut off the oven and let it just keep the door closed. Why? If I open the door, what am I giving the fire? Oxygen. And it's going to ignite back up and burn. So, you see your casserole, there's a fire in there. Shut off the heat, and what little bit of oxygen's in there is going to be used up. It will stuff it out. It might be a little bit longer than you anticipate. However, the oven like the microwave, is a metal box designed for high heat, okay? Fire's not going anywhere, but you got to shut off the heats. You got to start there, okay? We don't want to open that up. We had a fire where a guy came home, took a frozen pizza out of the freezer, set it on the counter, turned on the oven, 450, preheat, thought he could go mow the lawn. Well, he comes back after like 20 minutes after mowing the lawn, which took longer than he thought, and he sees smoke coming from the seams of the oven door. What the heck? The pizza's right there. He opens the door and woof, he's got to jump back. He didn't close the door. So what's going on? The wooden cutting board that was inside there that he forgot about is now it's able to breathe. And the fire's growing, and all the stuff that was on his counter, including the wooden cabinets, caught fire by the time he got back with this little extinguisher that didn't put the fire out. It grew. Then he called us, and well, needless to say, he was out of his house for about 8 months till it was repaired. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. If there's a serious fire in the house, oh yeah, the insurance will take care of it. It does, but it takes several months, sometimes up to a year, depending on the severity of the fire. Okay? So what happens if a fire breaks out in the microwave? What do? There's a fire. Let's say you put some butter in there to melt. And you set it for 30 seconds, but you hit an extra 0. So now it's set for 3 minutes, and you get going on, you're melting butter for the cookies you're going to make, and you're chopping up some walnuts or something, mixing some flour, whatever. And you realize the butter. You look in there, and you put the butter in a Tupperware container. That's made out of plastic. It's combustible. It can burn. And we got a fire in the microwave. Ah! There's a fire in the microwave. What do? Well, we don't want to open the door, right? Where do we go here? Stop. Cancel. All right. Hit that button. Did you hear that? Hit cancel. Keep that door closed. Within seconds, what little bit of oxygen will suffocate the fire. Wait several minutes. Let it cool down. Before you touch that, put on your oven mitts. Then you can take it out, wipe out the inside of the microwave, and try again. We had an incident where a lady didn't understand any of that, and literally, this is about 3 feet from the microwave to the sink. She opened up the microwave. The Tupperware container is burning. With her bare hands, she's spilling it because it's so hot. 2nd degree burns up and down her arms and hands. That's when your skin blisters. When all she had to do was hit cancel, be patient, let the fire suffocate. It can't breathe when you don't open the door, okay? We don't think about that. We see that fire and like, remember the fire triangle, heat, fuel, and oxygen, okay? Take away one of those, take away heat or oxygen, the fire is going to go out. It's difficult to remove the fuel, okay? Which would be the butter and the Tupperware in this case. Okay, so we know hot oil is dangerous. We're going to show you this video here. After I show you, go ahead, Miss Nardini. Okay, she's just showing me. So,
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have gas stove or gas oven, and there's fire inside the oven, do you just turn off the gas, keep the door closed, or do you need to treat it differently?
Nope. You do not need to treat it differently. Most ovens are gas. Most of us have gas coming into our house, and you know it. You got gas when you turn on the stovetop and you got flames. Okay, shut off the heat, the thermometer switch, basically where you set it for 300, 400, and so forth. Shut it to off. Turn it to off. Keep the door closed. Wait several minutes. Okay. So if you got a pot handle, I don't know, it's hard to maybe tell, but if you got a pot handle hanging over the edge, not good. Turn it to the side. If I'm not cooking over here, this is fine. Maybe I am cooking here, so I can turn the pot handle here, okay? We don't want them hanging over the side because if a little person reaches up, pulls it down, or you bump into it, that hot stuff, whatever's in there, boiling water, hot spaghetti sauce, comes down your leg, and even on your pants, it's going to cause serious burns.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen.
Oh, just a second, Miss Bernardini.
Okay.
So we got a fire in the frying pan. We weren't paying attention, and the bacon catches on fire. What do we do? Well, first let's shut off the heat. Can I reach that? Can I reach the lid? Well, sure, it's right here. I didn't grab my oven mitts, but I'm going to shield myself like this, if you can see here.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to slide it over the top.
Wow.
And suffocates the fire. See here, I shut off the heat first. Then I was able to grab the lid. It was close by. Okay? The fire is going to burn in the pan. The pan's a metal container. If you had a lot of, say, bacon grease, and you weren't there, and it can keep burning and burning and burning for several minutes, well, then some of this other stuff might catch on fire. Okay? But I was attending to it. It flashed. It got to its combustion temperature, and poof. We're going to show you the video now. Thanks for having me.
If your chip pan catches fire, don't panic. Just follow these instructions. 1. Turn off the heat. 2. Run a cloth under a tap and wring it out. 3. Cover the pan and then wait until it's cooled right down. Don't try and move the pan, and whatever you do, don't throw water over the fire. The effects can be devastating.
Briefly, there's a couple things about that video. First of all, I don't like the fact that she says, wring out a cloth and drape it over the pot. Use the lid, okay? Shut off the heat. In this case, you might have to put on your oven mitt and slide that lid over. So I just want to point that out. I do not like the fact that she wets a cloth to put it over the top. Use your lid. I do like the fact she came over and said you shut off the heat, okay? Important to do. Shut off the heat, then let's use the lid. And you saw the effects, and that's why this young woman is talking about never use water on a grease fire. That's all I got for you. Be safe out there. Thanks for having me.